Hey, well, what's up, guys? Welcome back to The Collision. Daniel here again to talk about one of the most anticipated films, not just of this year, but of the last couple of years. Released the Snyder Cut. That's kind of been the rallying cry of fandom for the last 4 years. And the day, believe it or not, has come. The Snyder Cut has been released on HBO Max. I've seen it. You guys have probably seen it, so let's talk about it. So let me just say right off the start that I did not see the 2017 Josh Whedon, much maligned version of this film. So I'm coming into the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League, fresh. You know, I'm just coming in looking for, not to try and compare if it's better or what's different, and I'm kind of playing that game, but just, hey, I'm just hoping for a good superhero film, a film with some good action, some cool visuals, maybe some kind of deeper themes and stuff beneath the surface. So I'm coming in fresh. All I got to judge on is the 4-hour cut of this movie. And again, I think at the end of the day, really the only question that matters is it a good film? Not whether is it better than what came before, but is it a good film? And after sitting through the 4-hour cut of this movie, from my own perspective, the answer to that question is no. This film is a bit of a mess. And I think I can see how this will end up being a pretty polarizing film in many ways. People are going to have kind of strong opinions either way. Again, I don't have much skin in the game. I'm not super invested, but I felt kind of sitting through this 4-hour cut that really in a lot of ways, this is just sort of a bit of a disaster of a film, and a lot of significant issues that kind of bring down and kind of overshadow what I think are, some hints of some more positive stuff going on. But overall, this is a bit of a mess. And again, Zack Snyder as a director, in a lot of cases, he's kind of a love him or hate him kind of guy. He has this very distinct style, and he's always had a keen eye for like the visuals, very kind of stylized, and he has his tropes that he kind of goes back to. I think I saw a crazy breakdown that like over 24 minutes of this film are slow motion shots, which is like 10% of the movie, which is crazy. And there's definitely some pretty cool visuals. The film looks cool. It has a good vibe to it. Some innovative shots, and again, it has a great soundtrack. But really, when I was trying to walk through some of the reasons why this film just didn't hit with me, almost all of them can be tied back to the kind of the single problem of the script. This is a bad script. It's a messy script. It's a very convoluted and under-edited script. I think the issues at the script level kind of manifest themselves into most of the issues that this film has. And I think with some of the script issues, it kind of manifests itself in a couple of different ways. And one is this is a extremely exposition plot heavy movie. There is so much, it's a 4-hour cut of a movie, and I still felt like there just wasn't room. There's too much stuff going on. And one of the ways that kind of becomes an issue is that there are multiple, there's kind of constantly these scenes where characters are just standing around kind of giving these monologues to fill in all this kind of complex backstory of what happened. And this character met this character. Now here's, they got to unpack what that means. And this character did this. And so now they got to kind of explain why that's significant and why the viewer should care. And again, some of these scenes, they give like visual flashbacks. And so there is some kind of cool visuals that kind of go along with some of these exposition dumps. But again, even those, as cool as some of them are, they can't kind of overcome the issue that this film is just constantly stopping kind of dead in its tracks, losing all forward momentum to just talk and to give details and information and kind of information overload. And again, a lot of this stuff could have been trimmed down. I think it's sort of an overindulgence by Snyder to some of these scenes that maybe are significant in the comics, but just when all put together in one film, just ends up being too much. And again, there's out of left field, there's some allusion to the anti-life equation, and sort of wasn't sure what was going on with this new development. And turns out I didn't need to know, because it's just set up for a a future sequel. It has no relevance to the story itself. And again, at this point, that sequel is probably never going to get made. So there's just a lot of exposition and plot kind of fat on this film that just keeps it from moving forward and kind of bogs it down. And kind of the other way that the script issue and the plot of this film is just that it kind of, everything that happens is very much dictated by the plot. Characters act a certain way, they say things, they change their mind, they go places, not really because the film gives a kind of an organic justification for their change of heart or for their actions or for what they're doing. But for the most part, it's just because the script needs them to do that. They need these guys to meet. They need the bad guy to have this and not have this. And again, everything just sort of is in service to the plot rather than ever really convincing, at least for me, convincing me as a viewer that this is what the characters would actually do, or this is what they would believe this. So again, I think the plot, the script issue really bogs down this film. Like even despite some of the cool visuals, is a significant flaw. And I think there's two. If we're going to kind of go beneath the surface with some of the major themes, I think there's at least two things that I thought were interesting with this film. And in some ways, it highlights the best that Zack Snyder has to offer. Then also sort of, I think maybe my most significant issue with this film. And as far as the positive, one of the unique things that Snyder has, kind of his unique vision for not even just this film, but just his superhero films in general, is that he really kind of makes a clear distinction between gods and men. And obviously not all the heroes are gods, Wonder Woman's like a demigod, but this sort of these powerful above mortal beings in contrast to just sort of everyday people. And there's sort of an ironic scene where Wonder Woman's just kicked butt. She's just beat up a bunch of bad guys, and she's talking to one of the civilians that she's rescued, this cute little girl, and the girl looks up to her and she's like, can I be like you when I grow up? And Diana kind of tenderly says, you can be anything you want to be. But the reality is that she can't. She's not the daughter of Zeus. She can't fly. She can't do any of the things that Wonder Woman can do. There's a distinction, kind of a barrier that she can't cross, despite sort of any kind of inspirational pep talks or feel good feelings. And I think even the violence in this film, this is, it's on HBO Max, it's not in the theaters. They can kind of get away with being a bit more violent than the average superhero movie. And this film is kind of more violent, and, characters get hit and they're flinging around. And again, the graphics kind of look like, and sometimes like a PlayStation 2 bad cutscene. Like there's no physics or graphics, so there's kind of floating around. And while I didn't really dig the action, kind of the graphic side of it, I think it's an interesting take for Snyder that we can't overcome, that we at a certain point we need to kind of step back and let the more capable beings fight our battle for us. And I think even Batman, the Caped Crusader himself largely takes a back seat. He kind of kicks things off and kind of brings together his more powerful allies, and that's about all he does in this film. Like he's present, he's fighting and shooting lasers and fighting bad guy goons, but he doesn't really contribute anything significant or essential to the mission beyond just sort of getting his more powerful friends. Again, as he's not as he kind of jokes in the movie, his superpower is he's rich. He doesn't have any kind of supernatural powers. And it's interesting. I think coming at this movie as a Christian, it's a unique take, and I think kind of a more grounded and kind of meaty one than you often get in these sort of feel-good, pep talky superhero films. And kind of the other theme that I think maybe highlights some of the weaknesses of Zack Snyder as a filmmaker is that this film, it really wants unity to be kind of its main theme. I think even unite the league or whatever, I think was like the slogan on the posters. And there's a point right before the heroes are going to go take on Steppenwolf and the big baddies, where Bruce Wayne kind of gruffly says, they've never fought us before, not us unified. And you get like the obligatory shot of all the heroes in slow-mo side by side, or the slow-mo shot where they're all going into battle. And it really wants it to be about kind of unity, but the flip side of that is the way that it shows that, the way that it explores the theme of unity is, I found, really kind of uninteresting and lackluster. And I think the reason why that is, at least for me, is that the heroes in the Justice League, they're valuable for what they can do, but not for who they are. Like Flash is important to the team because he's fast. He can do things that none of the other people can do. Superman's valuable because he's Superman. He's indestructible. Cyborg, who's definitely the most interesting character in the film. He's valuable because he can kind of hack into computer systems and shut down alarms and kind of contribute in that way. But as far as like their alter egos, like who they are outside of their powers, none of them really have anything to offer. There's no tension or drama between the members themselves. You never get a sense that there's like a conflict of worldviews or philosophies. That like Aquaman and Wonder Woman have a different philosophy on how they should fight the battle, or that there's any kind of personality test. And again, the team itself, you have someone of color, you have a woman, you have people from, rich, you have poor, you have people from different backgrounds. You have a very diverse team, but there's just nothing interesting in the dynamics of that. They're more like a puzzle. They just sort of plug in, do their role, they all have a common goal, but they don't really offer anything unique from their own perspective or the way that they see the world beyond their powers. And again, I think that is a way of looking at Unity. I just think it could have been a lot more interesting and deep and kind of meaningful to get beyond just, hey, these characters are more than just what they can do. They also offer, bring to the table who they are and their own perspectives. So I think in that way, the theme of unity that runs throughout this film just sort of falls flat. So again, those are, I think it's kind of in the end, obviously I wasn't a huge fan of this film. And I think there's sort of this idealistic notion sort of that we, let the creative just have pure freedom, no interference, just let them tell the story they want to tell. And I think there's obviously value in that, but I think not all criticism or pushback or restrictions are necessarily an evil thing. I think a lot of the issues that bring this film down, you can point to places where maybe Zack Snyder needed to be reeled in a bit and have a 3-hour cut of this film rather than a 4-hour cut just because he could and he had inspiration. And I think, with some editing and reworking on the script, there was the bones to be a really good superhero film. But again, I think it's kind of an overindulgence in some of the worst tendencies that Snyder has as a filmmaker just results in a bit of a dud of a film. But again, like I said, I think this is going to be a polarizing film. Some of you guys maybe loved it. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Let's talk about this. Again, if you saw the original version, let me know what's different. If you saw some kind of more redeeming qualities in this film that maybe I overlooked or didn't give enough credit, let me know that too. I'd be curious just to have a bit of a discussion. And again, if you're coming at this film as a Christian like me, if you saw any other kind of interesting themes and stuff, let's talk about it. And again, while you guys are on the channel, I encourage you guys to subscribe to our channel. We got a lot of movie reviews and a live stream we do every week, a lot of stuff that we'd love to have you guys join us. Make sure you hit that like button on this review, helps grow the channel. But most of all, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Take care and continue to collide with your world for Christ.